So recently, I made a video about why vanilla Alteric Valley is remembered so fondly, and in the video I briefly mentioned the alliance advantages of the map. It only makes sense to also explain why Isle of Conquest, the other battleground that Alliance wins way more than Horde, also has a faction advantage. In fact, Alliance have the highest win rate on Isle of Conquest when compared to even AEV. Now, why does Alliance win Isle of Conquest more than Horde? Well, the reason is actually pretty simple. You see, Docks is just straight up closer to the Alliance spawn point, and Docks is by far the best objective to capture in the game. So each Pug Isle of Conquest match will go as follows. Every single Alliance player will Zerg Docks and take it. Then every single Alliance player will protect the two glaives, while they're used to take down the wall to the Horde's base without worry of counterfire from the base because glaives can shoot way further away than the wall cannons can shoot back. And since glaives do more siege damage to the walls quicker than all the other objectives in the game can, Alliance get the wall down first every time and just goes in for the enemy general kill. This is how 99% of Isle of Conquest games go. And as long as the Alliance are able to stick to this very easy strategy, they will win. And they can literally just ignore the Horde the entire time. There is a way to counter the strategy as Horde. One of the most effective ways of stopping this push is to have your stealth classes sneak in and attack the glaives while they're attacking the base. The glaives do not have a lot of health when compared to the other siege engines in the game, and a skilled small group of stealthies working together can actually single-handedly win the game for Horde. In the footage you're seeing on screen, as the lone rogue in the battleground trying to take out the glaives, I managed to kill both of them, solo. But not after dying a few times in the process. So it didn't really matter since it took me so long to get back to the glaive after each death. Also, another side note about the footage, it took me a week of trying to queue for this battleground to get in there on my Horde character. The battleground is such hot garbage, all Horde players have it blocked as a random queue option, so it took ages to get in. I remember sitting in queue for 4 hours one day in an attempt to get in for the footage. Not for 4 hours and then I finally got in, mind you. Just sitting in queue for 4 hours before I finally just gave up for that day. But anyways, back to the video topic. If this strategy of stealth squads is so effective at stopping the glaives, why does Horde still lose all the time? Well, you have to remember I'm talking about a random battleground here. Think of all the times you've wiped on LFR bosses. Bosses so easy that each one is literally a tank and spank with mechanics that only need to be loosely followed. You think there's no way any group of people could possibly wipe to these bosses, and yet it happens all the time. When you put 40 random people together, the chances of getting any kind of intricate strategy to work are incredibly low. Because for one thing, you have to rely on your team having stealth classes, which is basically just rogues and druids, because you also want to have some kind of burst opener. Because if you do manage to attack the glaives, you're gonna have all 40 Alliance players attacking you at once. So you get like one attack, or more if you pop defensive cooldowns as well, and they don't have a way to counter them immediately. But even if you have the required people to counter the push, it's still hard to pull off, which just adds another layer of difficulty on top of hoping your stealth classes even want to do it in the first place. It is just infinitely easier to rely on a random group of 40 people to all stick together and take one objective than it is to rely on a small group of very specific classes playing well to counter it. Of course, there are other strategies you can do to stop the dock push, but trying to get a sizable force to contest docks as Horde so that you do not have to rely on stealth classes is also a risky move. For one, trying to convince a group of 40 random people to not rush mid and cap an easy objective, and instead go attack a base that the Alliance is closer to, is hard. Don't underestimate how uncooperative our random group of 40 people on the internet can be. Plus, most of the people in Isle of Conquest on Horde are probably new players who don't know they should blacklist the battleground yet, and are probably doing it for the first time as well. But, assuming best case scenario, and you do manage to convince your whole group to take docks, the Alliance have an advantage either way. they'll just straight up get to the capture point quicker and have a closer respawn point. And it's a lot easier to defend a base than it is to capture it, so you'll most likely lose the push anyway. But say you do manage to take it, well, you might actually stand a chance. Although the times this scenario plays out, I'd assume is pretty rare. I've never seen it happen. And I used to do this battleground all the time as Horde back when I was trying to get my Battle Master achievement. It's a lot easier to just organize stealth groups to attack the glaives, which in itself is still hard. While all Alliance players have to do is just rush docks, and then defend docks. And since that's the common strategy of the battleground, 90% of Alliance players do it. And since most Horde players know that the chances of taking the docks in a straight up team to team fight are low, they don't even try. And that's why Alliance has the advantage, because they spawn in close to the best objective on the map. It's funny that of the only two 40-man battlegrounds in the game, Alliance players dominate both of them. And both because of geographical advantages. If you want to see why Alliance always wins AV, just watch my video on why Vanilla Alteric Valley is remembered. That I'll link at the end of this video.